According to psychologists, humans that are genetically predisposed to be monogamous, the answer is false.
You're watching The Right Stuff with Stephen K. Amos, Kate Adams and our special guest Nick Moran. And Nick, meant to mention earlier, you've got a new film coming out as well, The Kid.
Yeah, it's an adaptation of Kevin Lewis's book, which was sold a couple of million and was a #1
Quite a grimy tale, if I remember.
It's his biography of growing up in a very, very violently abused family in South London and going backwards and forwards to social services and becoming a bare-knuckle boxer while running a legitimate business. But I got a fantastic cast. I flew a load of people over from America. I got Rupert Friend and Johan Griffith and Natasha McElhorn.
When will we see it?
Well, we'll see it. It'll open in Berlin and then we'll see it ideally sort of Easter next year. But it's a cracking film and I've been very lucky.
Now then, on this show, in a little while, if you could send a letter to the person you were when you were 16, what would you tell them? Work harder at school? Lay off the brown acid? Wear a condom? 0207 173 5555 is the number for your pearls of wisdom. You're right with that. You're right with that, Nick.
Just remember those three things.
They'll come in handy, son. They'll come in handy. Right now, though, would you share your partner? Lots of people do just that, sneakily. Mistresses who share another woman's husband behind her back. But what if it was all above board? Not bloody likely, I hear you cry. Well, think again. What if the guy was a multi-millionaire international exec who rarely spent more than, I don't know, a few months in the country? When in town, he's yours. When he's away, he's someone else's. And to compensate you for the lack of fidelity and, indeed, the lack of time you get to spend together, he pays for you to enjoy a 5-star luxury lifestyle 24/7, 365 days a year. Would you consider it then? It happens. Yes. Chance will be a fine thing. It happens. You know, a mega-rich hedge fund boss, Mark Lowe, he's the subject of an industrial tribunal. And as the case unfolds, he's a looker, ladies. He's a looker.
Thank God he's got money.
As the case unfolds, some of the allegations are frankly startling. It's been claimed this 59-year-old exec has 3 lovers around the world and is, if you'll forgive me, as we've seen, a munter. So some women are obviously prepared to share. What about you? Well, psychologists reckon people who want more than one partner have deep-seated inadequacies about themselves. Maybe. But then maybe they're living the dream. Plenty of people cheat, but few openly share. And you don't have to be rich either. Philip Sharp, he lives in Sussex with 7 women. He must need his head examining. God told him to do it, apparently. God told him to do it. Did he tell them as well? I can only assume so. Mormons, they're allowed to share, as are Arabs, some Arabs. The Bible is littered with stories of lovers who share. So what about the panel K?
Hey! So pleased you came to me first. Well, there's 2 things there. In terms of the multimillionaire executive, I just call that prostitution. I don't think that's really what you're talking about. But in terms of these other people who share, it's a cultural thing, isn't it? I mean, I haven't been brought up in that culture, so it's utterly alien to me.
You weren't told to share as a child?
No, not playing doctors and nurses, no. You know, I couldn't do it, absolutely not, because it's just not the way that I have been brought up. But I don't have a problem with it in other cultures where it works. I don't see the problem.
I think it's more than half men and women will cheat on their partners. This is a kind of above-board, open cheating. So it's not cheating, it's...
Actually, it's funny you say about...
It's infidelity.
It being about cultures, because like you, I wasn't brought up in that culture, but given the opportunity, I'd like to put myself out there. I'd like to be able to share me, but I wouldn't like my partner to be shared by anybody else.
But there's got to be 3 of you soon anyway.
Yeah, it'll be
3 of you with all of your own Oyster cards.
The police are going to clone you and then you don't need to share.
Can I ask you, Stephen, I mean, I'm talking fabulous wealth. Would that... And prostitution is such a hard word because lots of people prostitute themselves.
It doesn't need to be a hard word.
No.
You know, I mean, I'm not being accusing of prostitution, but it is... That's not about a relationship. That's about money,
lots of girls marry
isn't
for money. Lots of girls marry for money. Now, that's...
Yeah.
That's a similar thing. I'm just saying that rather than marry, you have a relationship, but with someone who may only be in the country for a couple of months.
But see, with that guy, you're hoping he's going to be out the country.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not waiting for him to come home. You're saying, bye! Bye! you know, that's a completely different situation. That's not a relationship.
Would money make a difference for you, Stephen? I mean, if it was fabulous wealth.
Personally, no. I'm not that kind of person, in all honesty. But I can see the attraction for other people, particularly in the modern world we live in. You know, relationships don't last forever. Right. There are lots more choices out there. So it might work for, you know, a young, stunning girl who doesn't think she'll get on in life in terms of jobs, career, if she finds the right loaded billionaire.
Kind of the lady who keeps shouting in my ear, right? I'll ask him. Would you share with one of the ladies working on this team? She's asking. Carolyn, her name is. Her name and shame. You say, will he share?
Will he share? Will he share? Look, I've got 2 points to make about this. One, it all depends whether Mark Lowe, whether these women that he was sort of hopping around with, whether they were actually planning to bag him or marry him.
Right.
No,
So everybody
you know,
has to
it's like some sort of big audition. You know, they're on a short list. You know, and one of them's going to end up. He's going to run out of steam and say, right, you'll do, and take them up the aisle.
Yes, good point.
So
good point.
whether that was going on, and I think that's a very important point. But also what he's done, what's happened with him is he's blown the whistle, which is not what you're not supposed to do. If you look at stuff like, I know, 2.5 Men, the American sitcom with, it's all about the guy that's, you know, he's a polygamist of sorts, but you never, you know, as long as you don't tell this person you're seeing that other person, it's a sort of unspoken
See,
rule.
I think if you don't tell, then that's devious.
Cool.
Oh,
no, it's cool. And the same is Sex in the City. You know, if you look at, you know, the relationships and that. No, it's great that she's got all these partners, but it's just a cool thing. You don't sit down with your partner and say, you've got to shift because I've got someone coming around in 2 hours. And by the way, here's a present, but I'm going to get her a better one. You know, which is what this guy's, unfortunately, pardon the pun, has his trousers pulled down and been exposed to what everyone's got to see.
To be fair to the guy. I mean, we don't know. He hasn't given any kind of testimony at all. I'm not actually talking about the tribunal. It's just something that's come up in it. Let's throw it over to you, Kirsty.
We have Helen.
Have you had any offers, by the way, out of interest? On you?
I've had one marriage proposal.
Yeah?
It wasn't from my boyfriend.
And it wasn't sharing, or it was a...
No one's up for sharing at the moment.
OK, they must be watching Jeremy Kyle today.
I'm keeping...
The pervs and the cheats.
people I can pull, Matthew.
You are disgusting.
I don't care. We have Helen on line 1.
Helen, good morning.
Good morning.
Would you share?
Yes, I have done.
Well, tell us more.
A couple of years ago, I was in a polyamorous relationship, and I had one partner who I'd been with for 2 years, and another partner who I'd been with for a year.
So you're in a relationship and you meet someone else.
Yeah.
And how do you tell the person you're in a relationship with that you want to have a relationship with somebody else?
It was open from the beginning. He was already living this lifestyle. I'd just come out of a very long-term relationship. Didn't really want anything serious. Fell in love with this person, and it was just open from the beginning.
And he had other partners?
Yeah.
And how did partner number 2 cope with the fact that you were sharing?
My partner.
Yeah, number 2, yeah.
Yeah, he was fine. I knew right from the beginning, first time we met for a drink. He was aware of the situation, and he didn't really seem to have a problem with it.
And it stopped now?
Yes, yeah, I'm just with one partner now.
Would you recommend it?
Yeah, actually I would.
What's good about it? Sell it to me.
I can think of a few things.
Well, it's different personalities, to be honest, because the partner I've been with for 2 years was very lively, very enthusiastic, loved going out, but not awfully into the home life or children, and I have a child. Whereas the other one was, you know, much more into the home life, really good with my son, just a bit more laid back, and it worked really well.
Why did you stop it then if it was working really well?
Because I met a third partner. For a few months there were the 3 of us, but the one I've been with for 2 years, that was kind of coming to an end anyway because we were very different personalities.
Right.
That ended. The one I've been with for a year, just couldn't cope with it anymore because I was obviously very much in love with this new partner, and
right.
he just had enough and he left. So it's just been my present partner.
Helen, how did you explain all this to the kids?
Just about to ask, yeah.
Very openly, not with unnecessary details, to be honest, but explained that, you know, I was going to have more than one boyfriend. I introduced them, not straight away, you know, he waited till I knew it was serious. And he was fine. He just accepted it. He was only 6 at the time.
Would you do it again?
Yeah, with the right people, I would, yeah.
I think I can hear the doorbell.
Yeah, right.
I would actually like to say, Helen, thank you for calling. I mean, you know, everyone's sort of gasped and astonished. I think it's an incredibly brave thing to come on air and explain. And explain in a sort of non-prejudicial or biased way. I think it's an amazing call.
That's why it's not my culture.
No, absolutely. I'm not going to judge
somebody
your...
else explains it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Nick, you may be interested to know that Carolyn, the one who wants to know if you'll share, her boyfriend has texted her while we're on to say, cheeky monkey. I think that's...
As long as he's not waiting at stage door when we leave. I didn't do anything.
We'll take your DNA anyway, and, just to be sure. After the ads...